Disc Golf, Manitoba, Provincials, DGM, Winnipeg, The Quarry, Stony Mountain. This is it.
Tie at the top.
Tie at the top. Crazy putts. This is Canadian Disc Golf Tour drama in a nutshell right here. Hi, my name is Matt Lysak. Joining me is Andre Lauder. We are Park Pro. We are at Stony Mountain. It is 8,192 feet of total length, Andre. This is a long course. We've seen some short technical woods holes, but there is also a share of long, more open holes, open to the elements, open to the wind, open to getting your disc cracked in half by these rocks. This is a wild course to finish on.
Just nuts. And you know, before we get out into that open, before we get out into the rock quarry, we're still in the trees here. Hole 11's no slouch, and pretty much right to the end. It's going to be a battle, as you can see here. Tight at the top. Eric +3, not the round he wanted to start with. That's a total of -6, but that leaves him in a tie with Nick. But at the top, we have Marshall Toews at -12 and Jason chasing him down at -11.
Yeah, I don't know how many of these big lead card showdowns Jason's been involved in. I know he is actually Masters MP40 eligible, and I think he plays a decent amount of time in MP40 as well. So this lead card MPO stuff, I don't know how used to it he is. So I'm impressed that he's still hanging tough here with only half of the final round to go. And it starts right here on hole 11, par 3, 162 feet. Again, another very tricky, technical, skinny hole with maybe two different ways of approaching it. I think there's kind of a forehand line and a backhand line. By eye, the backhand putter midline sort of makes the most sense.
I mean, just try to stay clean. That's really the name of the game on this one.
Yeah, and
there's so many trees in the way.
There's a first available and a first available after the first available.
Get clean is exactly so what Jason does. He puts that one real close.
And we saw the attempt at the forehand line.
One of your first availables there, Marshall.
Yeah, the third first available. And a little bit more. Oh, going with the ace run is Eric.
Yeah, now he's a little bit long. He'll have those shrubs to contend with.
He's trying to get 2 strokes back at a time here, which I like to see. He shouldn't be laying up at this point. You're either the Manitoba provincial champion or you're not.
Exactly. And Nick, he's going to get aggressive as well, and he's going to be right up there as well. He's going to have a challenging putt ahead of him, but watch Marshall maybe getting a rough kick here.
I was just talking about Jason feeling the nerves. This is kind of a nervy start to the back 10 here for Marshall. He's still
just goes from
so
one
far away.
Side to one side to the other. This is not the position you want to be in. I'd halfway through the round.
Is he going to give 2 strokes back here? Is he going to give 3 strokes back here?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jason's so close. There's Eric. So close to getting that one to drop. And that's what Nick needs right now. He needs a birdie. He needs to get that putter going.
Yeah, great job by Nick.
That's how you do it.
Certainly not out of it, but in a very difficult position. And that is a calm, calculated, double bogey saving putt for Marshall. He really needed that one badly.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough go when you see Jason putting it so close for the birdie. And just fighting your way up the fairway.
And this is kind of awkward, Andre. The man leading the tournament is sponsoring the man in second place in the tournament right now.
Yeah, that's I wonder what they're talking about on the course here.
Yeah,
I don't think they're talking about any of that sponsorship stuff, or they.
Hey Marshall, you better shank this one into the trees, or you're not wearing the Disc Republic hat next year.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't beat me, you're not sponsored.
Hole 12 has got to be one of the hardest holes on the course, Andre.
Yes, it is. And it's one of the funnest as well. It's one of the funnest to see these guys just try to pick it apart. You can see here, it's another elevated tee, but you're throwing down into these trees, and kicking off to the left or the right is a real danger here, especially on that backhand. You can get into trouble quick. And then, of course, you get skinny, because why not? What else would you want from a par 4 here at Stony Mountain? Not only is it skinny, but you have to deal with all these little pecker pole trees, and well, here's the basket, more trees.
Yeah.
I don't even know what else to say.
We've seen a lot of scrambling in previous rounds on this one. It's kind of like a lightning bolt shaped hole. You've got the triple turn. You're throwing down the hill and trying to stay in the middle of the fairway. You can see the smooth, easy throw there by Jason. He's not trying to get all the way to the back end of the fairway with that. He's just trying to make sure he has a shot on his second shot.
Yeah, and he, I think it was it would have been hole 2 or 3. Those are the ones we talked about, just trying to get disc out as far as you can. And this one is exact opposite. You need as much touch on the disc as you can, because the landing zone is so key. And with all these trees here, you want to get it as clean as possible.
And we just watched Yukon Territorials, the Larger Than Life Festival, and we were watching Luke Levesque throw grenades and thumbers over top of everything. It looked like there might have almost been a line for a high thumber, high grenade on this one, but nobody was going for it. I'm guessing the line's not there just to plow it over top of all these trees from the tee box.
This is a really interesting play from Eric. He was a little bit cut off on the right-hand side, so he just tried going up and around everything on the right-hand side, and I think it worked out for him.
Yeah, it looks like
kind of avoiding all the stuff in the middle.
Nick's sort of trying to do the same thing on the left-hand side, cut the corner with the forehand, but he gets denied on his way through. Oh, and so does
Jason. After getting all those strokes, he's going to be in tight here.
I love it. If you're up by 3 in the final round here, what's the harm in taking one extra shot to stay on the fairway here? That's so challenging in the rough on this course.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, Marshall catching something at the end of his long putt bid, but Nick just one tree after another, battling his way through.
Yeah, in case you didn't notice, a lot of trees on this one. No trees.
Go from Marshall.
Big enough for Marshall. He saved par with that.
That's incredible. That's that's a way to stay nice and calm after giving up a few strokes. You're going to get at least 1 or 2 back here. See Eric putting in the birdie, the rare birdie on this hole.
And a gross low left putt. That's one of those putts you make and you feel bad after you make it.
Yeah, exactly.
And now, right after giving back 3, Marshall's going to get 1 of those back. So we're back to 2, which is, saying the obvious here, a lot better than 3, Andre.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Fortunately, Nick going the wrong way there. Marshall excited.
He knew it halfway down.
Yeah. You can tell he's got that focus on him. He knows what's at stake. Marshall is usually one of those guys you can see the laughing, the smiling. A little less laughy and smiley on this one because he's playing for keeps, that's for sure.
He wants it.
Look at hole 13. It's a par 4, 555 feet. First shot. Looks like you want to try to, you could try to put one out as far as you can to the left. The key is to just get something across the water and kind of land in this area here.
Yeah, find some flat land here for your approach.
Yeah, exactly. Your footing is maybe more important, your approach shot, because as you can see here, you got to go up over the trees and land somewhere in this tricky green area.
And this basket is perched precariously on the edge of this little cliff here. We've seen putts from on top of the ridge, from below the ridge deep, from below the ridge short, and there's some angles of approach here which really don't work for you. So whatever you can do to select your landing spot on this green is ideal, which means the closer you can get to the basket off your drive, the better.
Oh, Eric's got the distance to get across here and cut off as much of it as he can. This is a phenomenal shot from Eric.
It's huge. Eric
Marshall
moves a disc.
Sure does. They get right into the nice landing, flat landing area.
Have to be right near the edge there.
Yeah.
This
Now,
disc
Jason
pops
was
up
at
nicely.
one point looking at some wild forehand line. He says it's there. But
Over
we're not
the
sure.
left?
Over to the left.
Oh, okay. I mean, you're the only one of us that's ever been over there, Andre. You'd been perched up there the year before.
I mean, all I can say, I think they took the OB out, and I think that's why it's an option now. All I'm gonna say is, I guess we have to go back to Stony Mountain and play around with Jason to see how he does that.
Yeah. Jason, give us a call. If you make a birdie on that line, we'll each buy 10 discs from your store.
Easily. Otherwise, we're only buying 9.
That's right. What a shot by
An
Marshall.
amazing approach. Wow.
Right in Jason's face, too. This sometimes when you get one of these head-to-head battles, every shot almost feels personal, which can really work to your advantage if you're the one executing the good shots. If you are dunking a disc right beside the basket, the instinct is always just to look over to your competitor.
Yeah. And Jason putting that one in.
The disc barely fell in, and he barely stayed on his feet.
Yeah.
He did what he had to do to answer Marshall's park job there on the approach. Gutsy stuff here from Jason.
Yeah.
He's going to stay 2 up.
Love to see it. Marshall able to put his in. And don't look now, but Eric Wiebe crawling his way back into this.
He's making birdies out there. Nick, we'll find a hole for you to crawl into. Get you a nice weighted blanket. The big stepper from down the hill.
Just over the rim.
He was
Just.
too intent on watching his disc. He didn't know where he was stepping, but I would be too in that situation.
I was gonna say he's too busy falling. He didn't get the chance to look over at Marshall. The stare down.
He's just moving on to the next one. I love it. Hole 14, par 3. We're getting close to the end of these forested holes. I think this might even be the last of the really forested holes here. It's a par 362 feet. It is significantly uphill, and it's significantly tighter than it looks on the drone. This is one of those holes that's even hard to fly the drone through, Andre.
Yeah, I can speak for that as well. It's a crazy hole. It's not uphill until the very end, and if you could put it anywhere on the top of this bank, if you can get it as high up the bank, give yourself a look at some sort of birdie, and you're looking pretty good.
Spike forehand can play. The big Anheuser putter or mid that we're seeing here from Eric can play. There's a couple of different ways to get there. A disc that moves left to right, kind of on a smooth curve, is the ideal shot. Or you play it safe, overcook the forehand, and just make sure you got a putt from down the hill. I don't know if that was on purpose, but I don't mind that play from Marshall.
Not a bad play, especially if you're just playing for par.
Yeah.
Not hit a little bit earlier than what Jason would have wanted.
I mean, he was going for it. He was going for the green here, just like Nick. Nick gets lucky through those trees somehow. He was owed one by the course, I think, at this point. But Jason going for the more attacking shot, and he was left with a lot more distance. And Marshall, who his disc never had a chance of getting anywhere close to the green, he's going to have a putt for birdie now.
Yeah. Just getting his up on top of the hill, giving himself a shot.
Yeah, Nick's playing for
what
pride
Marshall
at this
has.
point. He's any putt that he can get some momentum going with is going to be in his favor here. All right, Marshall's running this
Marshall's
for sure.
lie. You know he is. He had the line. Unfortunately, not quite the height.
Big putt from Jason. That was not a gimme. He really needed to get that par. Keep pace here. Marshall chasing him with 2 strokes behind.
And even though Nick only got the par here, that's got to be a little bit of a confidence builder. Just taking off a few holes and trying to end this round nice and clean.
This was an incredible putt. I'm glad we got to see this angle the second time because
Yeah.
that was so technical.
just crazy.
Maybe having a little bit of a word.
Eric had to make sure that he could do it too.
Yeah. So impressive. Hole 15, the former hole 20 we played last year. It is one of the more scenic holes to fly through with the drone here. You are going through this canyon, this road where all these trucks were taking out rocks. There's 2 levels of cliff here. The basket is perched directly in the middle of the 2 of them on this plateau in the corner. It is a pump on your drive and it is a pump on the approach. And depending on how the wind is jumping up and down these hills, your disc might be doing things you're not expecting.
Look at our chase card as Bryce puts this one in. The classic walk in that one. He can keep going, pull his disc out. That's a great birdie.
It looks like Bryce gave a couple back at some point in this round, as did Brian. But they're making up for it and they're keeping pace here. They are definitely not out of the equation.
No.
I'm glad we got a camera out there.
Yeah, this is an interesting play. Eric taking really wide out to the right-hand side, opting to take a different angle into the basket.
I did not see that coming. Does he not know that the road is the most scenic part of this hole? Marshall knows.
Yes, he does. And that's the play you'll see more people try to go for. Try to land something in there.
Misreleased by Jason.
Yeah, low.
He gets away with it.
Yeah.
But that's going to be 500 feet to the basket from there.
Yeah, and he might have to contend with this like island on the right-hand side, but look at where he's shooting from for his second shot as we watch Nick. Kind of somewhere in the same area. So this is why this was interesting, because look at this line that he has now.
Oh, I like that play a lot. More
He can
distance.
get wide, but then less things to contend with. If you got an arm like Eric does, like why not?
Yeah. Jason's got a ton of power here. He's going to get basket high, so both plays working out, but I wouldn't say a real good shot at birdie for either of those guys.
No. Maybe a little more height on the disc than he would like, but he's going to get up there and be able to put that one for par.
It can be a scary thing to turn your forehand over into this hill, because if you snatch some rocks on the way through, as this one, if this one comes back, he's going to be up there.
Not quite the height that you want at the distance, but still have a look at it, but it'll be the low side. I mean, maybe not the end of the world, because if you're where Nick is, or maybe a little bit further, then you are looking down at this cliff.
Solid bid by Jason.
It's a great putt from Eric. It's a good birdie to get.
I think we might see more round the outside shots here from now on after people get a chance to watch this coverage.
I think so.
Closest of the bunch is Marshall here. This is a big putt.
Yeah, not a lot of distance to go here. Just a lot of height.
Tall guy.
Fortunately, not catching anything.
That's an opportunity lost. He's got 5 holes to go to make up 2 strokes here on Jason. That doesn't feel good.
No. Still doable, because there are some challenging holes yet to come. Take another look at Eric's great putt there.
So smooth. Such a smooth pendulum from low to high there.
Yes, exactly. And just like really good height, really good, pinpoint accuracy. That's exactly what you want to see from a putt like that, where you're putting up at a basket.
Let's drop into the scoreboard. Jason Having the hot round too, when it counts. 5 down on the round, 13 down overall through 15 holes. He's 2 up on Marshall, who's fallen back a little bit, but still 2 down out here at Stony Mountain. Pretty good through 15 holes. The Killer Bees, Brian and Bryce, both former winners here. They're still in the hunt, with Eric Wiebe now making his way back up there to 9 down, clear ahead of Eric Giesbrecht. Suddenly we might have a 5-person race here going into the final 5 holes. What's going on here, Andre?
It's crazy. That's crazy. This is Manitoba disc golf at its finest. We got hole 16. This is normally hole 1 at the quarry. It's a par 3, 375 feet. When it's windy like it is during this drone flyover, this can be a challenge because it doesn't take much and your disc will end up way wide to the right and then you're shooting up to this ledge, or you end up on the trees on the left. So there is still quite a bit of challenge on this one, and it is a little bit of a pump.
If you're a physicist or an engineer and you're watching this and you know the term for that effect where wind going up a hill creates some crazy effects, let us know in the comments, because that's kind of what you're seeing on this hole. Is this wind is sweeping through this entire rock quarry and then it's getting filtered right into the faces of these disc golfers a lot of the time.
Take a look at Marshall here.
This looks so good. That is such a good drive.
It's going to put a little bit of pressure on Jason for this shot. Opting for the forehand. No surprise here.
That's also a great shot.
This looks really good.
Even better. Even better from Jason.
Nick
that did not get over
opting
enough
for the forehand as well, but yeah, did not get over on that. He's going to be getting wet.
I'm assuming casual water.
Yeah, I think there was some discussion about that, but I think it's optional casual water, we'll say.
Okay.
Oh
no, Eric, just off the cage. Okay, that's 1.
Marshall making good.
Big exhale after that putt, and Jason to follow.
Oh no.
Chains out right. That's 1 stroke.
Well, if you're wondering why they all went first, it's because
he's playing from the water. It's a nice shot. Yeah, and that's a nice shot.
It's a great shot. Up.
Hey guys, I found it. It's my favorite driver.
That's commitment. That's commitment.
Like, yeah, we're just gonna putt out, Nick. Don't worry about it. We'll see you over on the next one. Good luck. Hope your wife brought a towel. And she did.
There you go.
That's a good caddy. Now, did he go socks and shoes off? Or is he walking in squishy shoes now?
He went socks and shoes off.
Okay. Wow. We saw a little bit of everything on this one, but most impressively, we saw 2 very fine drives here from the 2 guys at the top. This is a good omen to me for these final 4 holes. If these guys, as the pressure is mounting, are just playing better and better disc golf. It's my favorite thing to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to wonder if the advantage is on the person who gets closer, or if your advantage is on the one that puts it in first. So,
yeah, big putts are real.
Take a look at hole 17. It's a par 4, 489 feet. It's kind of your first shot, if you can end it up in that open area, and then line up a second shot for a big forehand hyzer, goes over top of the trees and crashes into the basket here. Kind of what you're shooting for.
If you really get crafty with your drive, there are some straight sort of putter approaches. You could even throw a Berg, zony type of forehand to the green low. But yeah, I like the crashing over the top play on the approach on this one. There's enough trees to catch your disc.
First, you have to execute. Now, first drive, you just got to make sure you're putting it in the right spot.
Eric going full pump on this one. I don't think you need a full pump on this one, Eric. Yeah. You're just playing for placement here. Big turnover here.
Big high
Oh,
forehand for
he's
me.
really going full pump.
Yeah.
I don't understand that play. Like you said, this is to me this hole's kind of a no-brainer. You're playing to the short grass, and there's enough
Mhm.
of it that you don't even have to be that precise on your drive.
Yeah, and that's that forehand play that I was talking about.
Oh, that is so
Marshall
good.
playing this one, pinpoint accuracy. It's exactly what you want to do.
That is so good from Marshall. He's played out here a million times, I'm sure. He knows how to do it. And I'm curious to see where Jason ended up after this drive.
Yeah, too.
Okay.
Not that bad.
In a tree, though, with an opening. I think if there isn't a tree directly on top of his disc, probably he gets that approach a little bit closer.
Yeah, it took us a while to find his disc, and I just remember we were all a little bit surprised that he pushed through what he did.
Yeah, he
Managed to
blasted that.
mitigate the danger a little bit. Unfortunately, unable to capitalize.
Oh boy.
I think we're gonna see a tie at the
tie?
top again.
Game going into 18. Don't forget 20 holes. So 3 holes to go. But we have a tie at the top with 3 holes to go. We've got a good old-fashioned Manitoba shootout, Andre.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at Eric as well, he's 3 down, 3 holes to go. He can pick up a stroke per hole. He's right in the battle as well.
No doubt. And I put down the stats a long time ago, but I'm guessing this next hole has to be one of the hardest holes on the course.
Oh, yes, it's gotta be. Now look at Eric's. Not there.
Yeah, this hole is an absolute monster of a hole. It is a par 4, 814 feet. I have nightmares from our practice round. I have nightmares just from watching people play this hole. You're blasting a drive as close to that little group of rocks there on the bottom left of your screen as you can, because then you're tiptoeing across this plateau, probably another 350 feet to a fairly protected green. If you go in the water on the left, you're in trouble. If you go down this hill on the right that you can see, you are in trouble. This is a precarious second shot, and you can have a 2 or 3 stroke mistake with one throw on this one. So getting your drive as far and as close to that lake as you can without going into it is important, and then the job's not even half done from there.
Yeah, and there is a mandatory on this hole as well, which prevents people from going over top of that plateau and just straight to the basket, potentially forcing you to land in this area where Marshall has just landed his disc, going around the amateur tee pad.
Yeah, good shot, good distance, good aim. Might be tricky footing in there. This is a beautiful throw. Eric Wiebe, what is this disc?
Punch. Oh, poodles. Look at that. He lands it by the am pad. It's a great shot. That is.
We should have just put his drive instead of the drone flyover. I think we should.
No kidding.
So we'll just have
No
Eric
kidding.
Wiebe show you how to do this throw.
Is Jason short? A little shorter than what you would like. He's still got a little bit of work to get to the mouth.
Going to the backhand on this one. I guess probably worried about throwing something that's a little more stable than you expect. Is exactly like what Nick is doing here, and fading out too far right and getting out of position on the Mando.
Yeah, because now you have to go way far to the left, essentially just forcing yourself into a layup. As you can see there, Nick,
Which he
get
does
up to
well.
that Mando that's in the tree.
And now we unleash the forehand bomb for Jason. And I don't think he liked that one. I think that was off to the right.
Mm-hmm. There's Marshall. Let's see if he can make the correction. Also looking like it's crashing right. It's not the end of the world. If you end up on the top of that plateau, you still have a look at the basket, but the danger is if you go too far, you end up down in that valley.
Do we have a left to right wind on this one? Because that's 3 forehands that were way right of where these guys would have wanted to go.
Yes.
This looks more like it from Nick. If he can clear these trees.
Oh, I was looking so good.
Okay, so Jason stayed up.
But the ease of lace this one to the basket.
And Marshall stayed up top as well. Holy smokes, these guys got lucky.
The basket's scared.
Longer
So
putt there for
close.
Marshall. Jason's parked.
See, and that's where you don't really want to be. Eric able to navigate that really well from down in the gully. I'll have a look.
From way downtown, Nick almost puts one in. That would have been a good highlight. And Marshall, can he put it in? Yes. Salvages the par here with Jason parked. They're going to be going to 19, still tied at the lead. Sonny approves in the background. I should say it.
This is just.
I guess on the third last hole, there are no gimmies here.
No, exactly. That's about as close as you can get to gimme for Jason in that berg. He's been throwing that thing really well and putting it really well as well.
Yeah. And maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just projecting, but I felt like I could maybe see a little bit of nerves in there from Jason. He's looking like he was trying to keep his breathing cool, but he's holding his breath on the putt.
Yeah, I think even Marshall's feeling it a little bit of this. I mean, it's coming to the last couple holes. You're tied up. It's tight.
All right, going into
You
our
see it
final
there.
2 holes.
Goodness me.
Ryan
Minus
Freese
13.
joining the party at minus 10. But he's through 19 holes, so Brian's only got one more hole, and it's that short Mandy Landy 18. So best case scenario for Brian, I guess, an ace, but probably out of it at this point.
I think so. Eric, he's in tight as well. At this point, he's running out of holes, and he's gonna have to do something really special if he wants to stay in contention.
What a round. What
Just
a round.
amazing, phenomenal. It's great disc golf that we're seeing out here.
Hole 19, super cool. 404-foot par 3. Just blast a hyzer backhand. The big arms are going to be trying to spike it onto that plateau, onto the ridge where the basket is surrounded by a group of totally naturally occurring stones. Some people might end up a little bit shorter. It's kind of similar to hole, I don't even remember which course hole that was, but the old hole 20, where you can end up with a putt that's straight up a cliff if you don't play your cards right. So if you don't have the power to get all the way on top of this ridge, you're gonna want to play short of it a fair ways, so you're not putting straight vertically up a hill.
And not only that, there is more standing water this year. But there could be some water that could come into play there as well.
Marshall's got the power.
Marshall playing this right to the road, and that's picture perfect.
That's pretty good. I think Eric's gonna go for this, right?
I have to think.
That's tracking. Wow.
Oh, that's so close.
All the way to the top shelf, skips it over to the left. It's going to stay up there. He's going to have
Jason,
a level putt.
you can tell he's thinking about it.
Oh, no. Just a bad release on that one, unfortunately.
Yeah.
A little bit too high, not turned over. Should be doable for an up and down, though. And with Marshall not necessarily parked, probably safe with the 3 on this one.
I think so. And Nick kind of in that same spot as you see Jason's disc just ahead of him. Still a safe play. Just a nice, easy forehand into the green. Just walk to the last hole with the par.
Very nicely done.
Both looking really good.
And Marshall's for sure going to run this one. No, he doesn't. He lays up. I'm surprised not to see a floaty bid on that one.
Yeah.
Looks like you got another storm system rolling in here too.
Yeah. Eric needed something special, unfortunately. Unable to get that one to drop. Watching Nick put in his par.
Great putt for Nick. That's a good highlight too. He needed something to hang his hat on towards the end of this round.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
a little bit of wind to contend with, so
it's starting to go. I had a borderline illegal move there from Eric. I mean, he took some.
I was just gonna say
he took some seeds off of that grass right in front of his lie. I would consider if Eric wasn't such a nice guy, I might have called that one. And what are we? He's gonna putt from on top of the rock.
Yeah, he's allowed to because it's behind his disc.
Yeah, but you can mark that. He should have room.
Should have room, but if he wants to, he wouldn't have the room for the back leg, whereas now he does.
That's a good point. Big putt.
And he knows it.
Yes.
Putting all the thought into that.
I was a little bit nervous seeing him do the pump fake.
Too. Me too. You can tell he's thinking about it. You asked one of the other rounds if these guys are thinking about scores or looking at scores, and I think from these guys' body language, they know exactly where they're at.
Looks like it. And of all the putts to have an important putt into a headwind with a berg, that's kind of the way to do it. That's the ideal situation for a berg putt. But here we go, Andre. Hole 20, the final hole, tied at the top. We are throwing downhill. You're going to have to remind me of the rules on this one because this is an island hole. Usually it's playing those black posts and everything inside of there is inbounds. Are we going out of bounds and drop zone on this one, or is this hazard beyond the green?
I think there was some argument, and honestly, I can't remember what it is this year. I think it's hazard is what it plays as, but I think there was some discussion about that. We'll take a look at Devin Coop.
This is an aceable hole. Like the smart play on this one is kind of an ace run, because if you want that disc to stick on the island, it's got to be coming down straight at the basket just like this. Awesome. Yeah,
there's Brian. Talked about him needing an ace, and he gave it his best that he could there.
I'm sure he was running the ace on that one.
Bryce.
Definitely running the ace.
Yeah.
Oh! The picnic, and then he goes back out, and then he comes back in.
There you go.
You need to get some of those in a round for your round to go well.
Brad, maybe a little wide. Able to sneak it in.
There is not much room on this green. This is an exciting finishing hole.
One of the differences from last year is, and you can tell on the drone, is they didn't have this fence here. So there is the opportunity that if you go a little bit long, they could catch your disc, because they're having a little bit of discussion about where he can take his putt from.
Okay. Yeah, so if it's a hazard, he's just going to be standing right there. Crowd loves it. Great finish for Brian. 6 down out here at Stony Mountain is a crazy round.
Then they had the discussion. It is a hazard, so he's able to make a stance in the hazard.
But he was, yeah, so his disc was in bounds, and they were talking about the stance. I got you now.
Yeah.
Okay, so hazard rules here on the 20th and final hole. Great birdie for Bryce, too. Nice to see some bounce back rounds from Bryce and Brian.
Yeah.
And nice to see a chase card star frame here on this very challenging finishing hole.
Marshall up here first. See if he can put the pressure on Jason. A nice forehand out here. Is it going to stay in? And it's going to skip out the back. No, he looks like he's safe.
Did he get held on by the fence?
Looks like he got held on by the fence. Doing some favors here is Eric. Looks like he's got a berg on this one.
Who did the course design?
Look like he's running that one. That's what he needed to do. And
he doesn't get caught by the fence.
Slipping through. It's unfortunate.
Tough finish for Eric.
Jason up next. Got to be feeling the pressure on this one after watching Marshall land and inbound safely, going to his trusty berg.
What a tree kick. No way did that just kick
tree kick
6 inches inbounds.
Yeah. Here's Nick. Let's see if he can put it in balance. Just unfortunately not getting the tree kick, but wow, we got a
putt off.
Putt off for the wind. Similar distances, both just outside those circles there.
Let's get a wind read from Eric here first. Tough miss, made up a lot of strokes, and now we'll get a putt from the other direction here from Nick. So the two guys at the top here what a putt by Nick.
That's a great putt. What a way to finish a round.
Awesome.
Heck, he's had some troubles on the putting green, but here we go. Marshall. The pressure on. Just focused, and what a putt.
That had nowhere to go but in for Marshall. He was so intent on making that putt. You could almost feel it coming through the screen.
Yeah, he willed that one in the basket. Pressure's on Jason. And he hits the band.
Just high. And
Oh, I
he's
hate
smiling,
to
but
see it.
you know exactly the heartbreak that's going on there behind those eyes.
Yeah. Pressure and maybe getting to him a little bit. It's funny. The one thing I noticed is that a lot of the putts he was taking his time, and that one he just kind of maybe tried getting back to his routine and just didn't want to deal with the emotions. But unfortunately, getting the band on that.
What a battle from these two athletes. Down to the wire, back and forth. Jason had a 3-stroke lead. His Nick is
Marshall
absolutely
just
blasted
body check
in the
Nick.
face. Yeah, we got to see. This is the important highlight that we got to see here. Yeah, get some square in the chin there. I mean, just incredible stuff. I've been lucky enough to play in some of these tight battles in a tournament, nowhere near lead card MPO, but still, once you come down to those final few holes and it's just back and forth like that, your heart is racing. It's so hard to do anything and to hold it through and make a putt like that on the final hole. So impressive by Marshall. Incredible stuff from Jason. I was so happy to see him play, and he really represented himself well out there.
Yeah, what a great debut from Jason. It's so great to see those forehands. I didn't know he had that in him. There's a lot of power there and a lot of accuracy, and just lethal with that berg.
Killer stuff.
Take a look at our final scoreboard here as you see Marshall finishing up on top, Jason in second, Brian climbing his way to third at -11, Bryce right behind by -10, Eric Wiebe winning the Eric battle -9 with Eric Giesbrick coming in at -5 with Devin Coop, and Robbie, Brad, and Nick rounding out your top 10.
We're going to have to change that fun fact for Eric Wiebe. No longer one of the top 2 Erics. He gets to be the top Eric for the next year. Congratulations to him. And yeah, Brian Freeze, what could have been for him 6 down in the final round, probably kicking himself over some of those round 1 and round 2 plays there.
Yes, and thank you so much for watching. And as always, we have more Canadian Disc Golf Tour action ahead of us. Take a look at the leaderboard here. Unfortunately, none of these guys able to make it out. Hopefully they see this coverage and they get a little inspired, though.
Come on, guys, make your way out to Winnipeg. It's one of our major cities. And the courses here are incredible.
Must-play courses. Such phenomenal courses.
Awesome stuff.
Thanks again
Falcons
for
flight
watching.
up next.
Yeah, thanks again for watching Park Pro's coverage of the Manitoba Provincials. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button.